What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out and supporting this episode of Raised a Geek. This week, we dive into the first half of season 2 of Severance, now streaming on Apple TV. Was the wait between seasons just too long, or is it the show we all remember and love? Let's find out this week. I'm here with Tony and Don. How we doing, guys?
Chris, what is up today, my friend and Tony, my other friend? Good to see you, fellows.
Been a minute. Been a minute.
Yeah, everything's okay. Can't complain too much. Yeah, man. Just ready to talk some shows and entertainment with you guys about a show that we all liked. How are you guys?
I'm doing good, man. Same as you guys. Work life, all that good stuff. And Severance.
Sever me.
I've been battling streaming services and how I don't want to subscribe to any of them, but I want to have them all.
I get that.
I'm sure Don's tired of listening to me be like, well, I got rid of YouTube TV because fuck YouTube. But you know what? I got Fubo now. And you know what? I hate Fubo. Sling is where I'm going next.
Don, are you still Sling?
No. I haven't been
No?
slinging in like a long time.
Oh, okay. I think you're like one of the only people I know that I was close to that had Sling. I remember you guys dug it for a while.
Well,
I
that
had
was
it
the
for a little bit.
that was the first one I tried because it was like that was also in the early days of streaming before like Hulu Live and YouTube TV really kind of took off as the main two.
Yeah.
Sling's fine. It's like, I don't know, $50 a month or something, but you were missing a lot of channels. And they had like two levels. Like you could be orange or you could be blue, but like orange is missing some and blue is missing some. It's like, but I want these and I want those. And then if you get both, it's like paying the same as cable. So
Yeah.
Or more. Yeah, the one girl at work was telling me that she was like, my mom pays like $180 a month for cable. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe 80 for YouTube TV is not the worst.
Yeah, but what are you paying for your internet on top of that?
I pay 53 a month.
Okay, so you're at 130, but yeah, it all just every time we talk about cutting something, something comes on cable that just is like, oh wait, this is coming up, and we always DVR it, and it won't come on streaming for months or something. We're like, okay, we'll hold on to it for now, and then by the time we talk about it again, it's like, oh wait, but this show's coming back on. So yeah, I don't know, man. We have cable, and then I think I pay for like 5 streaming services on top of it. It's insane. Yeah.
here's the thing though, like YouTube TV and Hulu, I didn't want to have this whole conversation, but it's like the same as cable pretty much.
Yeah.
What you would get from YouTube TV or Hulu Live, it's pretty much everything that
Fubo.
you'll get from Fubo, Chris over here.
Fubo sounds
Uh,
far.
Anyway,
Dude,
Severance.
it's the convenience. We'll get to Severance. I need to say the convenience of the Comcast box and platform. I'm so used to it,
Mhm.
and I know it would only take me a couple weeks to get used to Hulu Live or
Fubo.
YouTube Live or however it works. But I don't know, man. Comcast is easy. I'm not getting Fubo.
So Severance season 2.
which is on Apple Plus, one of the most affordable ones of the bunch. I think it's only like $10 a
And
month. or
super
something.
high quality. Like I dig Apple. I got to watch The Gorge next.
Yeah, I went to watch it the other night. Didn't realize it didn't come out until Friday. So I
For
tried watching it
Valentine's Day.
Thursday.
Maybe we'll all watch it.
Yeah.
And if only we had a
Dude, I
platform,
didn't know
we could
anything
talk
about
about
it until one of you mentioned it, and I watched the trailer, and I'm like, well, I like both of them, and this looks interesting. It's different.
Hmm.
It's not where I thought it was going when the trailer first started. So,
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
it could be cool, but it's a streaming movie, so I don't know. I'm always kind of
Sometimes there's those hidden gems that
Yeah,
end up on streaming, so you never know. You got to give things a chance.
Apple
yeah,
seems more high quality than like
for
a
sure.
Netflix streaming. Like I don't watch Netflix original movies. Like they're trash. But
Trying to think of one that was. We mentioned one before. We were like, oh, that one was okay, but I can't recall it at the time.
The Irishman, that was like Hollywood quality, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. Just thought that was just okay.
Sure.
I don't know, man. The de-aging stuff just really throws me off. It's like find an actor that looks similar. Use them.
yeah, that's better. I just got done watching the Hobbit trilogy, and they kept de-aging Orlando Bloom, and I'm like, he looks stupid.
It's gotten better. It's gotten better over the course of time, but it still isn't
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
That's like I was really turned off that new Tom Hanks movie that had come out.
Here.
Yeah, because I saw the trailer and I was just like, and like it looks good, but also I was just like, no, man, the de-aging, it's not there yet. It's weird. It's very weird.
You just look like Polar Express Hanks.
Yeah, it
All
takes,
aboard!
I don't know if some people get past it. It takes me out of it where where it just takes me out of it, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, they used tech on this, AI on this, whatever on this. It's like, just if they would have put his son in there, who looks like him a little bit, I feel like that'd be more satisfying.
Colin Hanks, not Chet Hanks.
We don't talk about Chet on this
Chet Hanks is a
podcast.
train wreck.
You do not talk about Chet on the podcast.
I love Colin Hanks.
All right, so Severance.
It's a
I wish I could sever myself through this entire first 10 minutes of conversation.
Oh yeah, I know.
Uh,
What do you do for cable? Who has Fubo out there? Hit us up at
I'm saying
raisethegeek@gmail.com.
I'm saying Fubo.
Hit us up at raisethegeek@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. You know how to find us. You know how to rate us. You know how to review us. Let's talk about Severance Season 2, the first half. To get started, let's do a quick, we're 5 episodes into this season. Let's find out where we're going. So Severance Season 2 picks up 5 months after the events of Season 1 finale. Mark returns to work at Lumon to find a completely different team, while Milchek, now in full control of the severed floor, introduces a child, Miss Huang, as the new deputy manager. Meanwhile, Helly hides her true identity. Irving struggles with the fallout of discovering Bert's real life, and Dylan faces the harsh reality of being severed in the outside world. So how we feel? First thing first, we waited 3 years for this season. We're 5 episodes in. How do you feel? Are we still here for it? Are you still excited when a new episode drops? Are there too many mysteries and not enough answers? Like, how are we feeling about the show?
I'm totally here for it, but I'm just gonna say this, just popped in my head. I'm feeling a little lost because it's starting to remind me of that show a little bit,
Lost?
where I really enjoy it. I'm enjoying every episode, but I feel like each episode I'm getting less and less answers. So I kind of, when I look back at Lost, that's kind of how I felt. Where I'm like, man, I love that show. That show is great. The acting's great. The writing's great. And it's like, are they ever going to explain anything of this to us? I don't know.
As long as they explain enough.
Okay, so what have they explained thus far?
Nothing.
Right. So that's why it just kind of reminds me of Lost a little bit. But am I here for it? Absolutely. I look forward to it every Friday. It's one of the few shows in years that I watch on the day of the release.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure I watch it because I don't want anything spoiled for me. So yeah, huge fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm similar. I think probably, to answer truthfully, I think it's probably the best show on TV at the moment.
Yeah, White Lotus premieres tonight, so maybe we'll change our mind.
Yeah, but things change with that frequently. But at the moment, I could safely say it's probably the best show on TV. I do agree that I didn't really think about it. Like, is the mystery? Am I worried about the mysteries not being explained? Well, not necessarily. I'm just looking at it as like it's a slow drip, like slow burn kind of a thing, and I'm not worried about this show not going on beyond this season. I feel like it's got enough juice now where hopefully it can tell its whole story. It's got enough viewership and enough people who are fans where it's gonna be like, okay, we can tell this show to the end, whether that's 4 seasons, 5 seasons, whatever the hell they want to do.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get there. Yeah, but just like the acting, the sets, really like the drab 80s retro stuff, and all the characters that you like from season 1, and you add in a couple different new ones, and obviously everybody came back for season 2, and the production value went up. They had put a lot more money behind the show. It's hard to tell, but each one of these episodes cost like $200,000 or something. It's got a huge budget, I guess. Yeah, man, I'm just really enjoying it. I think it's a really, really good watch. I'm like Tony, where it's like if I don't watch it Friday, I have to watch it Saturday. Like, have to watch it in that first weekend because my algorithm on all my things now is like Severance, and if I don't watch it, people are going to tell me what happened, and I do not want that. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
What about
I
you,
agree.
Chris?
I agree. I'm having fun with it. I'm not necessarily worried about the mystery. The only mystery I genuinely care about is Lumen. So
Yeah,
and I know the showrunner writer has pretty much already said he knows what Lumen's up to. So that information should come out. A lot of the other side stuff, kind of same as you mentioned with Lost. A lot of those side things, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I want to know what the goats are about, but if I'd never find out what the goats are there for, am I going to be mad? Probably not, So
yeah.
there's
Not
enough
not
little
mad,
mysteries.
not mad, and agree that it's definitely a slower burn, and I'm fine. And I know we'll get an answer at some point, but like, it just reminds me of like every episode where we think something's going to get answered. It's like, no, there's still no answer. But that's how the first season was too.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? This is one long story, and eventually there's going to be some sort of payoff. But
Yeah, this season has already gotten a lot bigger.
yeah,
Already, definitely doing the season two thing where it's adding kind of new elements, it's adding new ideas, it's adding new characters. So it's just getting bigger and more complex, which is fun. So, and not a lot of shows are willing to do this or do this at this kind of level. So it's just super entertaining. I wish they would turn up the color a little bit. It's man, they live in I know the Audi's world is after work, but man, it gets dark there really fast. And they never turn on lights. Like Mark does not want to have lights on in his house.
Yeah,
They're
it's
sitting there with
never.
like fish tank bulb on, and that's like the only house they're having a conversation. I'm like, I can't see them.
Yeah, anytime you deal with any of the Audis, it's nighttime.
Hmm.
mhm.
So it is going to be a little darker unless they're sitting in a brightly lit
But
room
yeah,
or something.
none of them turn on the lights in their house. He goes to his sister's house. They have like on one light above them. They go to Irvin's house. He's got like his painting light on. I think Dylan's house was maybe the most lit when we went to his Audi's house.
Yeah, when they showed his kids there, yeah.
Yeah, and they're watching TV and stuff. I think that was the most lit Audi scene we've ever seen. Otherwise, they're wandering around in the snow.
Here's a question: where are the Audis during that 9 hours or 8 hours of work? Do they just stay in that elevator?
Oh, they're there. You mean like their subconscious is just clicked
Oh,
off?
okay. Wait, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so they are still there. For
Right,
some reason in my mind, I got confused for a second. I was like, they're projected somewhere.
Mhm.
Okay,
right, right.
I'm
It's like,
confusing myself.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Body's always moving. They're sharing a body.
right. It's
I
just that
got it.
part of them's turned off. That was I wanted to, and we'll probably get to this.
Get it
Well,
out. We
well,
got no structure.
something that I was curious about. So one of the main things in this season so far, or one of the bigger things that changed up was what did they call it? They were being rewarded with an outside um
I forgot what they called the OOTS or whatever.
it was the first time we saw
The, the
the
ORTBO.
yeah, the ORTBO. It was the first time we saw the innies outside of the office.
Yes.
Besides when the end of last season when they got out for 30 seconds. But
Yeah.
like I thought that was cool and interesting and weird too. Obviously, the whole show's weird in the best way. But I was like I was surprised they weren't more shocked because had they ever seen the sky before, snow? Um, I
That was why Milchek was like, "This is the tallest waterfall in the world."
oh yeah, which I was like, you motherfucker.
Yeah,
But
they don't know any better.
right, they don't. Um, but also like they've never. I was thinking about this. They've never slept before. I thought that was weird. And I was like, man, I feel like that would have been an opportunity to say you're going to be rewarded with being able to sleep. You know what I mean? As part
And
of
wake up.
this. Right. And
Yeah,
wake up as yourself again. You know what I mean?
because it was like
Um,
it was like an overnight that
right,
they've never
right.
had an
So
overnight.
I thought it's cool that they did that, but yeah, it was like one of those things where I'm just like, man, they to your point, they really turned it up a notch with everything this season.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Kind of a missed opportunity for them. I wanted them to be more like freaked out or taking it all in, being outside and being able to sleep and being able
Mhm.
to do everything they did. But
Well,
yeah,
even in the first episode when Mark had all new office mates when they
yeah,
tried to replace the three, which is great. Like,
Bill Balaban,
yeah, it kind of threw you off, and the girl, like, I don't know her name. It's kind of hard to pronounce.
maybe
From That's not
yep,
her real name, but yes.
maybe
Allie Shaw had or something.
Okay, yeah, her. Her character
April
even
Straw
asks,
Hat.
yeah, her character even asked Mark about like being outside and like what it was. Is the sky blue or is like what's air like or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it should have been more of a shock to them in episode 4 to be outside. And also like, how the hell does Mark know how to have sex?
yeah,
What is he?
yeah, yeah. That went pretty smooth, bro.
Right.
Went real smooth. Like
Yeah.
he knew what he was doing. He was ready to go.
Yeah.
And I guess while we're talking about this ORTBO, do you think, because I know Milchek kind of took the heat for that in episode 5 when he had his performance review, but do you think some of that was Helena's idea to
The
be,
Orpo?
yeah, to do like an overnight, to stay in that position to try to get more out of them, to reward them, to get more time? Because clearly she's jealous of Helly
Yeah,
because Helly felt things that she's never felt. So she wanted to be in that, she wanted to be Helly for longer than the 8 hours, and she wanted more time with Mark, and clearly she wanted to bang him. So, like, did she orchestrate that a little bit more? I mean, Milchek took the heat, but I feel like that would have been a Helena call, right?
yeah. The whole thing with the Ortbo and his review and him getting blamed and taking the heat for it. He also took heat for putting his paper clips on the wrong way, using words that were too big. So I
I
feel like
think
no
that was
matter what,
all. What's her name? Miss Huang.
That was Miss Huang's complaints.
Miss
Yeah.
Wong, but then when they said, "Oh, the Ortbo that you set up and you put into motion without," I don't know if he had approval or whatever it was. So it's like
Yeah,
I
but
don't know. That's some of the stuff that's confusing
but
about
Helena's
kind of
his boss,
right,
and
and
he
he
knew
knows
who
that
she was.
that she's there in the present. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, wait, was she involved or was she
She
not?
had to
So
be involved. I mean, if he would have said, "Hey, we're going to do an Ortbo," and she didn't want to do that, she would have been like, "Fuck no,
yeah, she would have
we're
been like,
not
"This is a
doing
bad
that.
idea."
That
Right.
sounds stupid. Why do I want to go to this frozen lake and wander around with a
And
bunch of
she knew the
outies?"
whole thing was happening, so she could have put a stop to it, approved it, or nixed it either way. So yeah.
Spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched this show.
Spoilers,
All these
guys.
things we're talking.
Yeah,
All
well,
right, so
then
they first come back, and were you guys shocked and mad at first when that first episode happened and his team was different? I was
yes,
annoyed.
yes.
I was like, please tell me they didn't do this. There's no way they did this. And obviously they didn't, but I remember being really annoyed.
My
And
only No, go ahead. Sorry.
no, those three actors are great. I love them and other things that I've seen them in,
Hmm.
but I was just like, oh, familiar faces. And I was like, no, not as his team.
I was like, "Are
You
we going to
better
spend a whole season like
right.
trying to find the other people? Is that how
That's
they
what I
cut
was
the
that's what I
budget
was
by not
thinking.
paying John Turturro?"
Yeah,
Yeah, my only hope was that it was gonna be temporary,
which it was. So that was yeah,
which it was, and it worked out.
yeah.
But it was kind of just like a throw you off kind of a thing,
Oh, it
and
worked for me. I was
and
annoyed at first.
and that was like kind of the only way you could start season 2 because they couldn't all just be back after the way season 1 ended. How much
Right.
trouble you thought they would all be in, but
Yeah, that's true.
then they kind of twisted it around and made it seem like Lumen flipped the narrative of making it seem like this is a good thing for the company that this happened. These guys are kind of like heroes, you know what I mean? Instead of in reality, they would have just been like, "Fuck all four of you,
Mhm.
Right.
you're you're gone."
Well,
But they obviously through the mystery of the show, we're learning that Mark, whatever Mark is there to do, is too important to just like throw away. They need him
Yeah.
to do things. That's why it's
He's the
like
key.
he needs his three coworkers that he's made this bond with. He especially needs Helly there. We're gonna send
yeah.
Helena down as herself and act like she's Helly, which was the big. You said no mysteries were answered. That was episodes 4. Episode 4 is like reveal that happened. Um, but yeah, I'm glad it was a temporary thing.
Yeah, and that's where we're kind of going. But I mean, since you brought it up, I was extremely glad that they did not save that reveal of Helly and Helena for the finale. I was
Oh yeah.
so scared that was going to be the finale reveal, and it would have been so disappointing because I think if anybody who's watching this show had to have pretty much realized after the first episode, second by the latest, that that's exactly what was happening. Like it was almost just like the obvious thing for the writers to do. Like we're watching this mystery show and we're just trying to find those things, and just the idea of knowing who she was and switching just made sense. Like that just seemed such like a natural fit after 20 minutes. Like it just felt so immediate. And I know both of you were sending texts within like 12 hours of each other saying, "Hey."
Yeah, I mean, it was a little obvious even in the it took a minute to like confirm it for sure, but you had suspicions even in the first
Immediately.
episode
Yeah.
when she first stepped off the elevator and Mark
Yeah.
hugged her and she was hesitant and
Yeah.
like looked like a stranger's hugging me because he is a
Yep.
stranger to her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad they didn't hold it till the end either because there's much bigger mysteries to solve than that. Which one? Obviously, it makes sense. Why would they send Helly back down there as this huge company? Why wouldn't they send Helena to, you know, spy on them and see what they did in the overtime thing? You know what
Yeah,
I
what
mean?
they
So,
who they talked to, what did they learn while
Right.
Milchek was trying to talk
mhm.
to them in the real world or outie world.
Yeah,
I was just glad. I was like, "Oh, thank God that they didn't drag that out."
agreed.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, and that turned out to not even be as big as we wanted it to be just because we all figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want more movement on Miss Casey? Are we dragging out Miss Casey? Just to miss, like, where is she? What did they do with her? Like, how are they moving forward trying to find her? Are they, I mean, we obviously had the one episode where they were wandering around. That's when we saw the goat people and they were sharing out like missing person
Yeah.
flyers.
And like that's how the finale ended with the reveal that she's alive, and obviously that's where this one's gonna go. But yeah, I'm hoping that I'm hoping them finding her isn't the finale. I'm hoping it happens in the next couple episodes. Because is it 10
10.
episodes?
10.
I
Okay.
think so.
So we're halfway. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later. Um, I'm interested. I want to know how she could have died in a car accident, but she didn't. Like, how powerful is Lumen? You know?
Here's the thing, Mark's Audi, like just playing devil's advocate or just like putting up scenarios. Why wouldn't he just go to Lumen, not get in the elevator, be Mark Audi and be like, "Hey, where the fuck is my wife? Because I know she's alive." Like he probably thinks he won't get answers. Like the only way he thinks he can get these answers is by going in there and reintegrating with this process he's doing with this
Sure.
lady who did it to the other guy. So like his Audi can go in there or his innie can come out, and go back and forth, and that's how he's gonna get answers. But part of me is just like, why are you still going to work, dude? This place is nefarious.
I think he can't. I think he needs confirmation before he can make a accusation like that. That's why he keeps trying to like burn a message and keeps trying to get a message to his Audi like who's dead because or who's alive because that's what he yelled and that's all they have. So they can speculate like we know that she's alive, but he doesn't know that. Like so I mean him just going in and saying, "Hey, where's my wife?" They're gonna be like, "Your wife's dead," and he's gonna be like, "Well, my Audi said, well, your Audi was confused because of this." Okay, like he has no evidence to accuse them of because he can't get into his innie's head yet.
Wait, remind me, how does Mark's Audi know that Gemma's alive?
Because his sister said, "Hey,
You were
your
screaming.
innie screamed she's alive and was holding a picture of you with your wife."
Okay.
So his sister believes it. And now because of the woman who I forgot who showed up, who's doing the reintegration with him, who that was completely, I'm like, who is this woman who's like, coming at Mark? Because I completely forgot who she was because it's been 3 years. So that reintegration thing is all like, I'm trying to re-grasp what that all even is.
So she did that to Petey in the
Yeah,
first season.
they
Yeah.
mentioned
Thank
PD and
you.
I kind of like pieced it together, but for a minute I was like, who is this woman that's just coming up talking to him while he's in his car outside of a barn in the snow? I was very confused for a minute. But she mentioned, then she's kind of dropped more hints like, did they tell you, do you think, did he mention, or she said something along those lines of like, did they tell you your wife was dead or tell you that she was alive or something? So then he has a little bit more to lean on, but I don't think he has enough full on
I got
evidence.
you. I got you. Well, to answer your original question, I hope maybe they find Gemma before the end, and that's not like the big season
Yeah.
end because there's bigger things going on. But to Mark, that's the biggest thing going on.
Yeah.
He's not thinking huge big picture. Yeah, the only person thinking huge big picture might be Irving, but we can like
No, and
get to
that's
him.
who I was going to bring up next because this last episode that we just had, like, got me. What the fuck is Irving up to? Like, I mean, it was kind of weird that he was painting this hallway and his Audi seemed to like have visions of the workplace of Lumen, and he seemed to know things that he probably shouldn't know. And he's making mysterious phone calls. And that last phone call before Bert interrupted him, he was just like, seemed like he was talking like they're on to me or they let me go or like he's talking with someone. So he's clearly up to something like at a higher level than just like Mark. And that got me
No,
super interested.
Irving's character is like the two spectrums of his Audi and Innie are the furthest from each other. Like his Innie up until episode 4 is just this like docile work guy who loves someone else who works in another department, and he's just very gentle and everything. And then in his Audi, obviously we've seen at the end of season 1 and anything up to now is like he's some kind of
Agent?
infiltrator.
Yeah.
He's some kind of infiltrator who knows what Lumen is. Like there's probably some huge setup and him in some shadow organization where he got planted in this so he can get severed and get inside and figure things out. He's painting pictures of the dark hallway. Uh, so yeah, his Audi isn't just like a dude. His Audi is a person who's trying to bring down Lumen or figure out what Lumen is, and we don't know who he's talking to yet. So
That's why I keep trying to think if the woman that's helping Mark is she helping Irving also? You know what I mean?
mhm.
Or is she with a bigger group than just her? You know what I mean? So, hey, look, I'm gonna work on Mark, you work on Irving. Is someone gonna work on, you know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I don't know. Um, that's the same thing with like Dylan's wife, because we met her for the first time this year too. It's like I feel like she's gonna have a much bigger role by the end of the season because I feel like she's seeing something in Dylan's Innie, even though she
Mhm.
loves him as an Audi. I feel like
Oh,
there's
she's
some
totally going to fall in love with the Annie.
right. So
100%.
it's like I
Yeah.
think she's gonna try to help them at some point or something. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. This can go in so many directions. I
I
love
know.
I love the quirky weirdness of this show, but it's like it could literally turn left or right at any given moment, where it's just like, wait, what is happening now? You
Mhm.
just introduced us to this, and
Yeah.
why does it seem like Mark's sister on the outside is the only normal human in the entire world who's like, hey, Lumen's messed up. They do weird things. Everything's strange. Whereas, like, when Milchek showed up at everyone's house to ask them to come back to work after they all got fired, he just showed up with pineapples like it was a normal thing for humans to do to people. Like, I'm just going to bring you a whole pineapple as a
Yeah.
gift. Like, I love the quirky weirdness of it and that it's just kind of bizarre, but I'm just like, man, somebody explain to me what's going on with Lumen.
Weird.
I
This
saw
world's a weird place.
I
I
need
saw somebody
answers.
I saw somebody post something that was like, this show would just end and be different if they just gave Devin a gun. Like Mark's sister. She
Wait,
would
Devin.
just like
Oh,
she would just like kill everybody.
they're
Just
not
give
wrong.
her a gun.
They're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's definitely, I think I could definitely see her having a large role in when we really get rolling here, especially with Mark's reintegration, which I'm fully still trying to kind of grasp exactly what the rules are for his reintegration and when he can see what. Clearly at the end of this episode, his Audi showed up at the end at Lumen
Inside.
inside. So, because I mean, he bolted for that elevator as soon as he realized he was in the office, and his conversation with Milchek was definitely Audi Mark, not any Mark, talking to Milchek because it was how he talked with Milchek at the house. So, but I don't know exactly what the point of that was of him. He switched at work.
I
Challenge
didn't
me, challenge me.
no, I was just gonna say I didn't catch that was his Audi.
That was
I
what
don't
I thought.
I don't know if I buy that. I
That
like
con-
it. As you
But
said it, I was like, oh, maybe. Because he does have that cocky confidence boost when he's getting into it with Milchek, which is how his Audi acts. But also, is it part of just the reintegration where it's kind of overlapping at the time?
yeah,
Because he
but
sees what's his wife's name? Or Mrs.
Miss
Gemma,
Casey.
Miss Casey. He sees Mrs. Casey for the first time. That's the first time he actually sees that his wife is alive at Lumen as an any. So I don't know. I don't know how the
But that
crossover
felt like a
works.
dream, wasn't it?
I think that was like a memory that he was. I think he was having Mark's memories at that moment where he was
Mark S's.
remembering. Yeah, and then but like the reintegration thing, like what's he drinking?
Oh, I don't know. It looked like
What's
weird chicken broth,
okay? Because like I'm confused about that
It
too.
did.
like
And his sister's the one
gelatinous.
who's been like coming at him about like you need to go against Lumen, you got to figure out what's going on, you got to find out about your wife. So he decides to integrate, and he just can't tell his sister what's going on though.
I feel like I would have told my sister.
Yeah, like hey, look, I think you're right. I think something's up. I met someone who's helping me. I'm gonna try to reintegrate. If I start acting weird or crazy, this is why.
Yeah,
Well,
get my back.
because he also told his sister about burning the stuff into his eyelids, so she's like
Yeah,
in on some of it.
right, right.
Um, yeah, just thinking while you guys are talking, I'm pretty sure that Mark in the elevator was still his innie, just because Milchek brought up the thing about, did you tell Helly that you had sex with Helena? How would Audi Mark? Audi Mark don't know that.
Watch that scene again. When he says that, he pauses. There's a reaction to that.
You
There is
might
a reaction to
you
that.
might be right. I might
There's a
have
reaction
missed.
to that, and he brings up the funeral, and there's a reaction to that too, because he doesn't know what funeral. The rewatch that scene. There, he reacts to those moments, to those comments. I can
Okay.
swear he reacts to them. If
All
I'm
right,
wrong, I'm not. I don't know. That's what I felt like happened.
you might be right, but I'm not sure about that.
Because I don't know why else he would bolt from work early. Like it happened, and that's why Milchek like caught him in the elevator and was like, "Hey, why are you leaving 9 minutes early? You know that you never do this." And then he had that cockiness that Audi Mark has,
But
and
again,
then
any Mark speaks snarkily to Milchek too.
he does, but
Yeah.
he just seemed like he didn't have. He was talking to Milchek like he didn't have all of the information that Milchek was offering.
I see what you're saying, but Mark was also in a mood because of Helly
Yeah, I
directly
can see it,
before
and I
that.
don't know. And once again, that theory, I guess,
Yeah,
doesn't.
I
didn't.
like it.
I don't
If
really
you're
know where
right,
it went. I don't
I
really
like
know if
it.
that.
No,
I just.
I hope it's true. I just didn't pick up on that.
But yeah, that was my
And
thought. Was because they did like kind of. He was at the computer. They did like a, and he was just like, "Fuck this, I'm out." And
oh, did they do the screen effect?
yeah, they did the screen effect like he was having like a moment, and then he bolted for the
Uh,
elevator.
so did they did the elevator screen effect then? That little
Yeah, that little like
focus
whenever
shift?
he had like a reintegration like
Yeah. Okay,
moment.
so I don't know if I saw that effect. So you might be right, man.
It's
I don't know
possible.
where they're
I
going
don't
with it, but I
You might
know
be.
you guys think I'm full of it.
I think
No,
you're
I mean
Fubo.
the answer will come. Like we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because if Audi Mark now has knowledge that he had sex with a woman and there's a funeral, like things that only any Mark would know, then we'll know for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't yeah, and I don't fully know exactly where that scene or where that moment would come into play later based on that conversation. I don't know if there is information that he can use. Like I don't know the things that they talked about. I don't know how Audi Mark would use it in any way outside of going and talking with that woman who's doing the reintegration and being
Yeah.
like, "Hey, this
This happened.
happened."
Yeah.
Um and it seems like so I mean that's obviously next episodes, but that was my initial reaction to that moment. I want to talk real quick. I've enjoyed more Milchek and him being promoted and him having his like issues as well, kind of with the company, with everything, with the paintings and stuff of him really kind of just being like, what am I doing here? A little bit, just adding a little bit more depth to his character.
Sure. It's the first time I've
I've really enjoyed.
sympathized with Milchek as it was this last episode, I think, where I've been like, he's a human who's working too, but also I don't like him, but I can feel for him a little bit more. I definitely sympathize with him a little bit this last episode.
Well, this season, I don't, and this is probably something that I missed from season one in general, but and I feel like there were conversations about it with Miss Huang when this season like started, but I, for whatever reason, was under the impression as well that the managers were severed.
Oh, okay.
So I never really put that together. And I remember, I don't know if it was having a conversation with one of you guys or I read an article where they were like, what happened to Miss Huang that she wanted to be severed? And now I'm like, she's not severed. She's just, like they
We
just
don't
mentioned. We don't know that.
we don't think she is.
We don't, but I mean, she's management. So
Right.
theoretically, she shouldn't
12.
be severed. And in the post credits, like interview, they called her like an intern, a management intern who's there doing stuff. So I mean, it makes me feel like she's not severed.
She's
And
scary, by the way.
yeah,
She scares
yeah,
me.
she's great.
That little child is very intimidating.
Yeah, she does a great job. But then I enjoy the little moments where they let her still be like a little girl, like when she was like, "I'm not going to play my theremin,"
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
and I
She's
was
like,
just
but
like,
I
she
practiced.
kind of like dropped down in maturity in that quick moment where she was kind of upset that she wasn't going to be able to do her solo at the funeral.
Yeah. And she pulled out that little ring toss game, even though that had something to do with something else, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I've enjoyed kind of seeing a little bit of the management side a little bit more with Milchek. Just character growth is nice.
No, the him and the other the lady who represents the board, who every time the board is speaking, I can't think of her character name.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mark's
Um,
sister's husband called her a short version of her name. It was like Teeny or something, or was her name? I can't remember.
oh, it's Natalie. I just saw it.
Oh, okay. Nat. He was like, Nat
Oh,
says,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Um, their dynamic kind of is interesting, what they're
yeah.
hinting at. Like, they both have kind of had the same kind of hardships at Lumen and the feeling of not belonging and being out of place, but still here to do this job that you don't always feel great about doing. They're like telling each other that through looks so
Yeah.
far.
Oh, and her
'Cause
looks have been outstanding.
yeah, those have been some great scenes. But yeah, the Milchek stuff is interesting. I'm glad he's more of a focal point. It makes you think in like literal terms sometimes, like, man, you must really, this job better pay well because it seems really stressful.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
it seems like, why are you even doing this? You're choosing to have this
Yeah.
job. Like, it kind of seems like it sucks. Uh,
I was thinking about that in the first episode where Milchek was like running around to all the Audi's houses and delivering the pineapples. But I'm
yeah,
like, dude, he's working late. Like, fuck that. I'm not
Right.
working that late. Like
right.
I'm like, his whole life is this job. I was like, that sounds horrible.
I hope you're
Nope.
making 500 grand a year for whatever you're doing.
Where
Like,
is the work-life balance, Lumen?
Hmm?
It's 2025.
yeah.
Get
Get
with
severed,
it.
man. Get severed. You'll be fine.
Yeah, right. Then you won't care. Maybe he is severed.
Yeah.
So now we're halfway through this season, and the really three big mysteries that they've kind of deepened a little bit more is one, we know that they're working on a project called Cold Harbor. They really pushed on that in this last episode, which we obviously have no idea what it is. They're looking for scary numbers and grouping
We
them
know
together,
that it's world changing.
and it's world changing.
Yeah.
Praise
At the
Kier.
end of the first episode, they like flash Cold Harbor with Gemma's face. So like she's
Mhm.
key to it or
Yeah.
something.
So we have no idea what it is. Any theories, any wild theories that you can come up with or read somewhere that you want to share? I don't have any, so I'm just creating the
I don't
opportunity.
read anything that's Severance related because I don't want someone's theories to spoil anything for me if something's been leaked or anything like that. I'd rather see it on my own. But yeah, I have no idea where this is going. I mean,
I mean,
it could go from religious cult to, you know what I mean?
It's got to be a religious cult of some kind.
Time travel, you know what I mean? It could be anything. It could go anywhere.
it's
I
some
just
kind of it's some kind of they're an evil corporation. That's all you know. Lumen, whatever they're doing is some kind of take over the world, take over people's brains, like just make $1 million, billions of dollars. And the cloning theory's been out there that everyone kind of is putting out there. Stuff with Miss Huang might be some type of clone of,
like
or
that.
or the child of Mark, and then the goats. Obviously, when you think goats, cloning, like, oh, that's like a real stuff brought to the TV. So, but to answer your question, no idea what Cold Harbor could be.
Oh, speaking of goats, just quick shout out to Brianna Tarth, who was a nice little surprise that
Yeah,
popped
right.
up in there. I was just like, hey, look at this. That was
Yeah.
all right. Like,
Yeah.
Queen of
Show
the
us your
Goats.
bellies.
Yeah, right.
The other thing, the other mystery that they've been working on for these 5 episodes is the exports haul with Irving.
Mhm.
which I have no idea what the exports hall is or what they're exporting out or what they're creating to need to be exported. There's probably going to be tariffs on it now, so they better export quick.
Well, we finally did get to see it. We finally did get to see it at the beginning of episode 5,
Yes,
with a guy whose face was cleverly covered
the
as he
whole
was
time.
walking.
Yeah.
You only do that in a show if they don't want you to see who it is.
Right. It'll be
Meaning, like,
revealed at some point.
is that somebody we've seen already, or like, I don't know, maybe just another famous actor they don't want you to know who it is yet?
Probably
I
Bert.
was gonna go back and try to listen to it again to catch the
Mm,
voice, but I didn't.
yeah.
So I don't know. But
Probably I'm thinking Bert.
And now the last thing Irving did before he left was kind of leave Dylan a map to get there.
yeah.
Well, and it
So,
was funny because I mean, to me, that was extremely obvious. Like, I read the couple lines and I was like, all right, there are instructions to get to the hall. Cool. Or from what he's learned, like pick up where he left. And I saw an article today from like somewhere when I was looking up stuff to put together our notes, and they were like, what was that letter all about? And I'm like, it was pretty clear, but I know it's just clickbait garbage. So
yeah.
I click on those sometimes and then I get mad. I'm like, of course. Like IGN just put up an article that was like, what's the best order to watch the Jurassic Park movies? I'm like, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you
In
really need to write an
chronological.
article about that?
Yeah.
But 60,000 people and they make a bunch of money. And the last Irving really in this last episode became the third biggest mystery that they've really given us this season because one, he's obviously looking for the exports hall, but two, now he's kind of seems like he's involved in some kind of other organization or some other kind of he has an ulterior motive against Lumon in some way. And now he's going to go have dinner with Bert and Bert's husband, which I don't know where that's going to go. Is that going to lead to something bigger? Is Bert and Bert's husband, I think he called him Fields, are they involved in something and they're going to recruit Irving? Or like I love this show. It's
I'm
great.
excited to see who's playing Fields because it's gonna be somebody.
Yeah,
I'm
of
wondering
course.
if that's someone we've seen before.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's
right. Is he severed as well?
Right.
It could be Bill Balaban. I could just see him
I
being
can see
there
that.
at that table.
See, I was picturing and it sucks that
I
it can't happen.
picture a face to that name right now. Who?
Bill Balaban was part of Mark's team, the replacement
Mark-
team. He was
Oh,
the
yeah,
little
yeah,
dude with the
yeah.
glasses, the NBC executive on Seinfeld.
Mark
Also, he
W.
was in a little movie I like to call Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water. See, I keep picturing
I think she might be an angel.
I keep picturing, and obviously this can't happen. I keep picturing his husband as Carl Weathers. For some reason, I want that to happen, which I know it can't, obviously, but that's what I
It's not.
picture.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible, Chris.
It's not possible unless we really figured out cloning in real life. But
Those
that's
are
what I'm picturing, like a Carl Weathers to walk in and be like, "Baby, you got a stew going."
That's just
oh
because
shit.
Don said that the other day.
No, those are the big three, or three of the big ones. I still want, over the course of this next 5 episodes, kind of just what we're hoping might happen. I want some more answers on Miss Huang. I think a little more thought into what she is. Where's Miss Cobell? Like, we didn't see her, and we haven't seen her in 2 episodes.
Right?
She's the key to something.
Yeah.
I mean, they obviously, Lumon fears her.
They were about to
clearly.
kill her.
They were going to kill her. She figured it out and didn't follow Helena inside the building.
She wasn't even gonna make it in that building. They were gonna shove her in that trunk so fast.
Yeah. So what's going on with her? What is she like the key to? The heavy set guy who's in all these board meetings. There's something more with him too. Like, is he an Egan? Does he just work for them? He's obviously a high ranking.
He's a dude with the perfect beard, right?
Yeah.
The heavy set guy who did Milchek's review. Yeah.
Yeah, I had in my head that was Helena's brother.
That's what I have in my head too.
I don't know
think
why
they
I have
say
that
it.
in my head, but that's kind of where I thought.
I don't think they've said it yet.
They haven't said it, but she always says my father, not our father, but it seems like they're that family that would say it that way anyway. But
Mhm.
I kind of got a brother vibe too.
Yeah, I don't know why I have that vibe, but clearly it's there to some degree.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, yeah, and I think I'm trying to think of what else like Really, I won't reveal it. I don't know. I'm kind of along for the ride. I'm sure more are gonna pop
Yeah.
up. So
I'm assuming Cobell's gonna at some point switch sides. That she's gonna
potentially.
like get with Audi Mark and be like, all right, we need to do and do some kind of info dump. She has clearly a lot of information that she can share
Well, I think
to
there's no
help.
way there's no way she's going back to Lumen right now. So that's more of a likely outcome
Yeah.
Yeah.
than her, you know, getting back to Lumen and being Miss Cobell again.
No, she can't trust them after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, she has to if she's gonna play into any more of the story, which clearly she's going to, it has to be on the other side. She has to join the resistance.
Also, my question is just to you guys: if you're Mark, how do you ever trust Helly ever? Like, how can you ever know when you're down on the severed floor if you're talking to Helly or Helena? Like, she told him like, no, it's me, but there's no way you could know. There's not a thing he doesn't know if tomorrow it's Helly and the next day it's Helena.
Yeah, he'll always probably second guess it, but I don't know. I think he's gonna accept her back eventually. He can't. I mean, I think when she said stop being an asshole, that did something to him. Where I think they'll start getting along in the next episode or two.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine. Yeah, in real life, no, I don't think I could ever.
Never.
I don't think I'd ever be able to. Watching the show, it was crazy because, as we've mentioned many times, it's been 3 years. Like, it was crazy, and they always talked about it. Like when they talked with the producers after the episode, with like how amazing the actress did being two different people. But like when she came back down that elevator as Helly, I was like, oh yeah, that's Helly. Like it's been 3 years since I really watched Helly, but I
Yeah.
really saw like what she was doing at that point. For whatever reason, I like we talked about after the first episode, we were like, that's Helena. And we never so it's like this was the first time in 3 years that we've really seen Helly again. So now it's like, oh, okay, I see it. I see what they were going for. I see how it was. And I think if this show would
Yeah.
have came out faster, I think that almost that trick would have worked even better. But it was like 3 years. I didn't even like it. Just didn't. I didn't feel it.
Well,
But
there's been a lot of talks like after the fourth episode that Britt Lower should get some kind of nomination for the work she's done so far, and
yeah,
John Turturro too. After that episode, that was kind of both of their tour de force episodes right
yeah.
there.
Just
Well,
I was so glad in that episode, and once again we're walking back around. But like I was so nervous that they were going to turn John Turturro into a bad guy, Irving into a bad guy, because I was like, please let someone see what's happening. Like he was
Mhm.
trying to drown her, and everyone's racing to see what's going on, and I'm like, oh my god, they're going to do that whole shtick where, like. Management's going to get there first and block it, and our main characters aren't going to know. And the fact that they gave all of that information to everybody in that moment was so welcome, because so many shows would have not. They would have hid that information from. They would have given it to us as a viewer, and they would have made us watch 5 more episodes of Helena being Helly.
Well, yeah. The best sequence in that whole him trying to drown her part was like when she finally realized like, oh, I might die of drowning, and she was like, "Do it, Seth," and he was like, "Yeah, do it, Seth." I was like, "Oh shit!" That
Yeah,
like gave me chills. I was like,
yeah,
"That's fucking awesome."
yeah.
In front of everybody, so now everybody knows.
When
Like
that
you
was,
said,
I was
yeah.
so that was my fear when that scene started, was that it wasn't going to be in front of everyone. And once it ended up being in front of everyone and they all got to kind of see it, and the fact that they just saved us, they made that reveal happen 4 episodes in and completely said, now we're going. That almost like we're talking about not a lot of mysteries being solved. That was a huge mystery that was solved in 4 episodes,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful that they took 4 episodes to do it, gave us an answer, and moved along, and we got so much more out of that than we could have. And other shows wouldn't have given us Irving's map. They wouldn't have given us so much stuff that came out of that. Um, Mark knowing he banged the wrong Helly, so so much stuff came out of that I don't
Yeah.
think so many other shows wouldn't have done. They would have took the slow burn, and I'm so grateful, because if this show ended with that reveal of Helly
See you in
being
season
Helena,
3.
see, I would have genuinely been upset if they would have saved that for episode 10.
Well, now you
well,
don't
now
have
you don't
to.
have to be.
I love being happy. I love being happy. So, you guys have any final thoughts? We've talked. I mean, I'm sure we could talk all night about Severance ultimately, but any final thoughts? Feel like we've babbled enough.
I love this show.
Yeah. Same. Like I said at the
It
beginning.
rules.
It's probably the best show on TV right now, and I think we should reconvene to talk about it when it's all wrapped up and see if we got our questions answered and go from there. But it's a good one.
And we will do that. If you made it this far in the conversation, then clearly you like Severance, and hopefully you enjoyed some of the things we said. If you have any theories that aren't full on spoilers that you read somewhere or leaked, share them with us over at raisethegeek@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. I think our TikTok has become a Severance machine.
At least one post.
At least one post about Severance over on our TikTok. So you hit us at Raise the Geek at all the social medias. We're full Severance mode at this exact moment, and probably for the next 5 weeks. I don't think too much more is going to distract us until Last of Us starts in April. Right? That's the next big one.
I think so.
Well, you just mentioned the White Lotus comes on tonight.
Oh yeah,
White Lotus does come on tonight.
Which I just binged that season 2, and it's a great show too.
Man, yeah, I'm definitely excited for season 3 of that. But we'll see.
Dude,
maybe we'll talk about that.
Stacked this year. It's always stacked, but I was just shocked at the cast this year too.
Walton Goggins is all I need.
What is it? Michelle Monaghan, I think. It's just the list. Yeah, it's awesome. They
Carrie
always have a
Coon.
big lineup.
Yeah, Carrie Coon is great. She doesn't pop up in enough stuff.
Dude, she's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I almost weird sidebar, but I almost bought The Leftovers season 1 at the video store yesterday.
Dude.
And then I kept hearing Don's voice in my head going, "It's on HBO."
Dude, that's
Chris still hasn't watched The Leftovers. He loves Lost, but he's
I
never
watched the
Dude.
first season and then didn't have HBO and
Leftovers
just
is
never got
so
back
good, and it was such a just sad, kind of rushed finish. You know, it was still great, but
Yeah, not enough people watched it, but it was fantastic. Yeah,
the first season was great. So yeah, I need to do that. But we're not here to talk about The Leftovers or other things yet. White Lotus, we're here to talk about Severance. We'll be back next week talking about something. Maybe The Gorge.
The Gorge.
The Gorge. The Gorge or Invincible was what we were talking about.
oh, Invincible. There's a new episode that came out yesterday, I think, or the day before.
Yeah. So we'll be here talking about something. Hit us up, Raise the Geek at socials, raisethegeek@gmail.com. Talk to us, but I think that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And I'm Tony.
And thanks for checking out the show.
Where geek is all we speak.
Bye-bye.
Doo doo bow bow.
Chicka chicka.